Hello everybody, and welcome to Lesbians Are Taking Over the World. Hey, I'm attempting to put my makeup on. I'm not feeling the best today as I went swimming in the docks, in the Albert Dock in Liverpool, which is like a open water. It's swimming in the River Mersey, and the River Mersey, if you're not from Liverpool, is it's the estuary, so it's not quite a river, not quite the sea, and yeah, it's anyway. But I had a pretty rough time. I have a few really sexy diseases. I have Lyme's disease, ME, fibromyalgia, and I decided to try and go swimming in what is basically the sea, deep sea, and then I realised that I definitely can't do that because I'm disabled. It's weird with this illness, like when you have a chronic illness, you I don't know, you kind of, it's hard for my brain, for my memories to, it's hard for me to remember that I'm disabled. Like, like I'll start to walk, and then within about, let's say, on a good day, within about 5-10 minutes, I'm completely, I collapse. I'm in agony, and so when you go swimming, you think, well, you're floating. So how much energy you really use? How can't be that difficult. But yeah, I almost, like, there was a point where I actually thought I was gonna have to get either my friend to come and do the chin lift, the life-saving chin lift. I was either gonna have to get my friend to do that, or I was gonna have to get a lifeguard, because there was a point where I did think I might actually drown. I was like, shit. It was really scary at the time. It was really, really scary. Like I didn't know if I was going to be able to swim back to the side and get out and climb out. I had a panic attack, slash, just like, when you like a panic attack you have because you're panicking about something that's not really, you don't need to be scared of. But I was panicking, like I was kind of like panicking, but also I really was losing my breath and didn't have the energy to swim anymore. So like, yeah, so it was scary. It was just really scary. I mean, when I did manage to get out, I was shaking for about an hour after. I was really shaken up. But then I just, when I realised I couldn't swim anymore, I just thought, well, hang on, all I've got to do is lay on my back and just float. I've got quite big tits, so there's like, my boobs are like floats anyway. So I was like, well, maybe if I just lay on my back, and just like float there, and then once I'd then rested for a bit doing that, I then had enough energy to just very gently push my arms, like. But it was still terrifying. Like I'd swum too far out. Then I get quite depressed, because it's like, shit, yeah, like I can't just go swimming, like. What? It's so frustrating. It's like fucking I've been like this since I was 30, and one of my favourite things to do in the whole world is swim. It's my favourite things to do. You can't even fucking go for a swim for an hour, you know? Like, I can swim for maybe, like, I don't know, one length maybe. It probably less than that, actually, thinking about it. It depends on the day, you know. If I'm having a really good day, I could swim a length. Yeah, so I would say little chronic illness tip for any of those chronic illness fans out there, that if you have a chronic illness like ME or fibromyalgia or Lyme disease or MS, blah blah, I would definitely recommend that you probably shouldn't go swimming in deep sea unless you know, you are literally going straight in and there's something to cling on to. Definitely take a floaty. Definitely. That was the one thing I was like, why didn't I just fucking bring a floaty? You know? Like, if I'd had a flotation device, all that could have been avoided. So, like, I'm thinking about, my friend's got a noodle, you know those noodle things? I'm thinking about, if I attempt to go again, definitely take a noodle device. I don't normally ever show myself on camera without makeup, because I'm really insecure about my my eyes, because I've got, like, I don't know if you can see. Like, I basically have ginger eyelashes, obviously, because I'm a redhead. And I look so young and so, like, blank without eye makeup. And I think once I started wearing eye makeup, it's weird because, like, there's many a day I would love to just. There's many a day when I just think, no, I'm not going to wear any makeup, you know, like, fuck it, you know. Like, I don't really wear much. I mean, I don't ever wear foundation. And I should really, because I've got, like, a little mosquito bite there, I think that is. I've got some weird, like, what are they called? I can't remember the name of them now, but the blotches on your skin, basically. It's from sun, I think. It's because I'm pretty sure that's from living in South Africa and Mexico, because I never used to have them before I lived anywhere sunny, and then when I lived in South Africa and Mexico, I didn't wear sun lotion or anything, and obviously, like, it's a lot of sun, you know. It could be that. I mean, it could just be my age. I am not that young anymore. Got a little bit of bronzer on my skin, so I don't look so pale. But other than that, really, that's it. I put moisturiser on my skin just because it feels really dry. Well, especially not so much in the winter, but in the summer. And then I just wear eyeliner and mascara. But I've just realised this is a podcast. For all those people who are listening on the podcast, I'm doing a video today. So if you want to see the video of me, the delightful, insanely beautiful model looking me, it'll be on the YouTube channel, the Facebook channel, and what else do we have it on? The website. I think that's all the video. Yeah, I think it's just YouTube and Facebook. Pretty sure. I watch so many blog videos, and of, like, people that I've just, you know, over the years you kind of feel like they're family almost, you know. And I was thinking, like, I should do a video, really, you know, because I don't know, it just makes. I love, like, I have a friend on Facebook that I've never met her, and I just love. She does a lot of she kind of, like, uses Facebook a bit like me, where she kind of blogs her life, and it's, you know, a lot of people, like, I have a lot of friends that, like, they think that and family members that think that I speak too openly on social media, on my Facebook, and I'm like, I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like, it is kind of like a blog for me, my Facebook, you know, and, like, I have talked about my life through my travels and through relationships and places I've lived and things that's happened to me. And when people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be so open, you should keep things private," like the whole world can see it, and I'm like, well, you say the whole world, but I mean, really, nobody's that interested in me. Like the only people who are really looking at my Facebook and commenting and communicating back with me what I'm saying is friends of mine that I've met over the year, people I've met over the years. And I remember like once I was walking down Manchester Canal Street which is a city in the UK, and I hadn't. There was these there was this gay couple, really good friends of mine that I hadn't seen for years and years because I've been living in abroad and stuff like that. And I was walking down Manchester Canal Street one day in Manchester, and I bumped into them, and they were like, "Oh, hey, Jet," we hugged, and it was really weird because they said like, "Oh, how's this going and how's that?" And they knew things about me, like they knew personal details about me, about my life that, like, kind of like only a close, somebody who I'd been kept in touch with, and I hadn't kept in touch with them because, I hadn't seen them for about 10 years, and I knew them when I lived in Liverpool, and they were just kind of like, we weren't like dead, we were good friends, but we weren't like close enough that where I'd keep in touch every day, but yeah, anyway, they were like, "Oh my God, we were so sad to hear about this, and we were so excited about that," and I was like, "Whoa, how do you?" They were like, "Yeah, we follow you, we love like your Facebook, we follow you on Facebook, and it's been really like exciting, but also like just insightful of, we're sorry to hear about what happened with your wife, and it's amazing when you went to I don't know, the jungle in Mexico or whatever, and that was cool, but I'm really sorry to hear about that." And I was like, "Whoa, you've like," I was really shocked, I was like, "Whoa, like you've like." You actually follow, like you actually like read, and they're like, "Yeah, like we love it," like it's actually, it makes us feel really connected to you, and we've been following basically your life for the last 10 years, and like yeah, we've missed you, but in a way we feel like we never really lost you, and it was really not, and that was the first time in my life where I was like when like a lot of friends and family are saying to me like, "Oh, you should be more private," and I'm like, I think, well, why? I mean, yeah, all right, fair enough. If I was doing something offensive to somebody, this is just my personality. This is the way I am. I have no issues with discussing my life, certain elements of it, with people, typically my friends, and even the public, because the amount of amazing conversations I've had and the amount of amazing knowledge I have learned from actually saying things publicly on social media, and then people have got back in touch with me and said, "Oh, they've given me like tips and advice or a personal story," and everything from I've cried from somebody sharing a personal story with me to somebody gave me this really good medical information about my illness, and it changed, all kinds of things, So no, I'm not gonna keep shy and all that shit, like. I perfectly understand people that do that. But that's within your right. But I don't. It does kind of annoy me when people judge me on it. I'm like, well, all right. Like I don't judge you for the way you lead your life, and unless I'm hurting somebody, why are you judging me? Who am I hurting? I'm going to attempt to put on my eyeliner now. Oh my God, my eyes are so stingy. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on that rant then, but. This is me, so of course I did. Of course I had a run. Oh God, I really need coffee. I'm actually amazed. I was in so much pain today, from the swim. It, especially my hands and my arms. It was like it felt like they were burning. It really feels like they're burning. Like anybody, if you ask anybody with fibromyalgia, I think it's the fibromyalgia pain anyway. I have so many other diseases. Sometimes it's hard to know, but it often does feel like you're burnt, like your flesh is burning. It's absolutely horrific. But I managed to. I kind of forced myself in the bath. And when I got in the bath, I was like holding back. I was trying not to cry from the pain. But I put, like Epsom, I'm sure you know about Epsom salts, or any type of salts. I think magnesium are really good. Epsom, what else? Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt. That that helps with inflammation pain. Oh, any pain to do with muscles. Okay. Kind of bodge that. Okay. I did a little bit too much eyeliner. I look a little bit ridiculous. But never mind. The fact that I'm even just out of bed doing it, I'm shocked. Oh, where did I put the lid? Yeah, so fuck it, I'm not gonna film. Sorry, I'm digressing and I'm rambling. Fuck it. This is gonna be a ramble video, just definitely. So yeah, no, I'm not ashamed of like the way I am social media, it's actually like it. I mean, I don't know. The internet's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because if it wasn't for Facebook, there's a lot of friends and family that would have visited me more, especially when I became disabled. I mean, I didn't care before I was disabled. Before I became chronically ill, like I was happy to. I was a bit of a. I wouldn't say I get bored easily. I like adventure. It's not that I get bored easily because. I mean, I think everyone gets bored just generally in life, but I get itchy feet when it comes to staying in the same place, and even from a young age, my biggest idol was Indiana Jones. Yeah, even as a kid, like Indiana Jones was that's who I used to like dress up as, and that's who I wanted to be, and like which. And it was funny, like later on Tomb Raider and all that came out, but like I still like I didn't understand why I couldn't be. I didn't understand why a man had to be a man and a woman had to. The whole gender thing still pisses me off a little bit. That it's like, well, I had to grow up to be Tomb Raider, whatever the name is, Angelina, whatever, I can't remember the character's name. It's like, no, I want to grow up to be Indiana Jones. I'm just a woman. Like, fuck that, like. Why is it got to be that I've got to have the amazing tits and a great art? Like, fuck it. He was still cool. He was still sexy. He just happened to be a man. Yeah. So I kind of knew. Not knew, but I had a feeling I wasn't going to probably stay in the like. I needed to travel and see. And even now, like, there's so many countries, so many places, and I'm going to be heartbroken if I don't ever get to some of them, like, and probably with my illness now, I probably won't. I always dreamt of India. I've been dreaming of India since I was a tiny little kid, because I had a lot of, growing up in Leeds and Bradford, I had a lot of Indian influence and friends and culture, like I watched a hell of a lot of Bollywood growing up as a kid. And I think just because I had a lot of Indian friends, because growing up in certain areas of Leeds and Bradford, you just have a lot of Indian friends, and so it was like kind of like almost part of my culture as a kid growing up, and so I always wanted to go, like India always, just, and also Australia, Russia. I mean, obviously the list is America. Weirdly, America never appealed to me. I don't know why. I guess I feel like I kind of saw everything there was to see on movies, Anyway, I'm rambling like a motherfucker here. Yeah, so I watched this. That I did have there's some things I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Oh, hang on. Just realised I've left all my social, stuff on. I watched. Hang on, let me just finish this. I did actually have some stuff I actually wanted to talk about. Just kind of like emotive stuff that had affected me this week. Let me see if I can find it. I thought I'd made a note of what I want to talk about. One of the things is Real Talk, which is a TV show on Channel 4. I think it's called Real Talk. Let me just double check actually. Oops. Oh, The Talk. Right. The Talk, yeah. Yeah, it was called, what did I just say? What did I just say it was called? The Talk. The Talk, right. Yeah, anyway, it's called The Talk on Channel 4. And I just watch it, basically. It's about racism in the UK. I didn't get to watch all of it. I only caught maybe the last part, I think, or the middle part. I caught half of it anyway. And it actually got me really quite upset. There was parts of it where I was like, it got me to see things from a point of view I'd never seen before. You know, I still find it amazing that I'm 37 years old and I'm still learning. I still don't really know what it's like to be. I mean, not that I would ever know what it's like to be a black person or an ethnic race in the UK. I mean, how would I know that? But it shocks me that, like, you know, I've had friends my whole life who, you know, I'm from Jamaican descent originally, or, you know, Indian descent, and, you know, they're British, but they happen to be, you know, different skin colour to me, and it just amazes me that the way I live in the UK and the way I walk down the streets and the way that I experience life is just so different to them, and yet it's almost like I forget because I'm in the white bubble. And, like, yeah, okay, it's only recently I really started. It's only recently, in the recent years, I've really started to understand the white bubble, what the white bubble is. And when I learnt about it, I did a lot of research on it, and I you know, spent a long time trying to understand it from friends, from blogs, from videos, TV shows, podcasts, you name it. Comedy helped a lot, you know, but, you know, 5 years on, I still am learning, you know, and it's fucking shocking that I just never thought about things. Like, for example, one of the things that he said, really famous actor, he's a famous British actor, I forget his name now. One of the things he was saying was that, like, when he went to the West Indies, where I presume his grandparents maybe are from or something. He went to the West Indies, and he was doing a kind of like back to his roots type thing, even though he's not. He's British, but his some ancestor, some family member, presume, was from there originally, and he said that, like, when he was there, seeing for the first time he was there, because it's obviously, like, he's, you know, brought up in the UK, in England his whole life. When he was walking down the streets, when he was walking into shops, when he was going to, you know, everything from the airport to the hotel, he said, like, seeing him mirrored back, you know, seeing himself, like, you know, the same skin colour everywhere, feeling like he belongs. And then he said he just felt really relaxed, you know, like, really, like, just completely, like, relaxed, like nobody was judging him, nobody was going to give him shit, nobody was, you know, like. And then he said when he got back, when he was on the airplane, he hadn't even landed in the UK, he was in the aeroplane, and he said that he started to he heard you know, the what do you call it, the air flight attendant thing on the microphone saying, you know, welcome back, we're going to be landing in the UK soon, blah blah blah. And he said he felt his whole body tense up and almost like put his armour back on, you know. I mean, it was just crazy. And then he was saying, you know, he landed in the UK, and he landed in, I think it was London or something, and he just felt like, and he was walking, you know, he came out, and he, like he felt himself physically stress and tense up, you know, almost like I say, like armour against, you know, because he's black, you know, and here he is in a country full of white people who, whether we kind of know it or not, even people who try and not, like me, I really don't think that I'm racist, but I'm judgmental. I mean, everybody judges, you know, like, and I hate to admit it, but I still have a lot. I still need to. I'm still learning, you know. Even though, like, I feel like I am the least racist. I mean, I feel like I'm not racist in the slightest, but I'm sure I say things that are offensive. I'm sure I say things that are inappropriate. Get on people's tits, and you know, and it's just anyway. But it really upset me. Like, you know, I mean, for somebody to have to live like that, like in their own country, that's what they're from, you know. It's not like, and even if they weren't, even if, you know, like when I lived in South Africa, there was a couple of times a fair few times I got racially abused because I was white, because I was with a predominantly black, you know, thingy, and I only experienced what would have been like less than a millisecond of what it's like to be like a black race in like America or the UK or in a Western country, and it was upsetting. Like, yeah, it affects you. Like it made you, because there's nothing you can do. It's weird, because you're kind of like, it's the same thing. I suppose it's the same with homophobia with me. You know, like when I get homophobic abuse. You kind of like, you know, it's, or like when I used to get bullied for having red hair, it's kind of like, well, I can't do anything about it. Like, you know, you basically hate me, you're angry with me, and you hate me, and you think I'm disgusting because of a colour, you know, and I don't know, it was just really, really upsetting to realise that. I mean, that is that's crazy, you know. And this whole thing of, like, you know, the alt-right, that like, well, if you're only British if you're white, like, fuck off. I'm sorry, but like, you're just a fucking human being, you know. You're just a fucking animal. That's what we are. People like to think that human beings are these like, you know, we're these like high up, amazing species. We're just a fucking animal, man. That's why we kill. That's why we fuck. That's why we argue and we fight and we do all the things we do, because we're not immune to animal nature. We are animals, you know. So we have hormones and we have a survival instinct, and yeah, okay, we do it in a collective manner, like ants, you know, like a collection, like a pack of wolves or lions. You know, we work together, but we're still an animal. People, we're animals. All right, so that's why I try not to beat myself up too much when I do something crazy and irrational. It's like, well, you know, I'm not a fucking robot, you know what I mean? I'm made of flesh and bone, I have hormones. But the idea that you're not welcome, that you are made to feel like you're not allowed to live and be welcome, and your whole family and everything, like that, you're not made to feel like you belong there because you have a different colour. It's just, sorry, I'm trying to sort my hair out. Yeah, I don't know, it's like, you know, and the amount of times I've had people say to, you know, like, not to be fair, not loads, but the few times I have had white racist people try and talk to me and be like, oh, well, you know, they'll try and say things like, I mean, they won't say it outrightly, but they are basically saying, you know, that we belong. And, you know, like when I've had like white taxi drivers talk about Brexit, or just somebody. I remember I was just stood in a queue once. I think it was like the Asda or something, and this fucking white racist person started talking to me about. I can't remember if it was a black person or if it was it was some race other than them anyway, and they were like saying some shit to me, and turned to me and went, like, you know what I mean, like them, and I was like, well, I'm a Jewish immigrant, so like I'm. you probably feel the same way. And he's like, he was so shocked, it's like, because it's like, yeah, I'm the same color, like, yeah, I have this similar skin tone to you. I mean, I'm pretty fucking, I mean, I have like loads of freckles, red hair, so wasn't that similar to him. And he kind of looked more like he was like Huguenot anyway. He kind of looked like he was kind of like French, going on to almost to that side, like French Israeli, like in the dark hair. And I'm like, so it's like the fact that he's nitpicking at somebody for just a slightly different skin tone, it's like, and then it's like, well, actually, my granddad was a Jewish immigrant who came from Yugoslavia, and he fled the Nazis and came to the UK. So just because I'm white doesn't mean that you're gonna hate me any. Like, you can be just as racist towards me. Why do you feel like I belong then? Like who like. You can say the same about any country, about anything. You can say the same about the whole of America. It's like built on people. The people who in America, the only people in America, if you're a racist, the only people in America that you technically you think belong there is the original First Nation people. They're the only people. If you believe in immigration, because if you don't believe in immigration, if you believe that people aren't allowed to move, like, it's just fucking crazy. I remember, like, I've never really liked Bob Dylan. Just don't know why. I just never. I can understand he's very, very talented and blah blah, but I just never got into him. And but that line, we're born in chains. Like, I remember being a teenager when I heard that line, and I was like, well, that's a bit morose. Like, why? But then when I realised that you can't just, like, when I realised that a fucking salmon is more free than a human being to go wherever they want. Like, a fucking bird could just fly from one country to another, no issues. But me, or any of my friends, or anyone in the world, if you want to go to fucking, I don't know, you want to go and see the Himalayas or whatever, you have a finite time you're allowed to be there, and then they're going to kick you out. And trust me, like, I was married to a South African woman, and I was going to have a child with my Mexican friend, and basically immigration completely and utterly destroyed I would say the two major relationships in my life that would have changed my life for the rest of my would have changed me for the rest of my life. Because of borders, because of immigration, I couldn't be with the people that I loved and have the family that I wanted, purely because of immigration. I mean, and that we're not free. That means that you're not free. Like, I fell in love with somebody who happened to be from a different country, and the governments of those countries said, well, to be fair, it wasn't just racist. They were really, really homophobic. Their response to why me and my wife weren't allowed to be together and live together was incredibly homophobic. And this was about 10 years ago. So, I mean, not that long, like long ago, but not that long ago, So, I can't believe that. I just can't believe when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, like, I thought things were going to get better, not go backwards. I thought that, like, I thought we were free. I thought you could meet somebody from, I don't know, I thought I could jump on a plane. I thought if you worked hard or whatever, you came into some money and you could afford to fly to, say, somewhere like, I don't know, fucking China, right? And you met someone there and you happened to fall in love with them, I would have presumed, as a child, I would have presumed that you could be with that person, and you could either live in China with them and marry them or whatever and love them, or they could, whichever. Like, it never occurred to me that no, that's not how the world works. Like, we're not free. We're not free to do that. You're not free to be in love with whoever you want to be in love with. Whether you're gay, straight, you're not free. And it's just ridiculous. Like, why? Like, somebody like Nigel Farage, like, I want to just, he just baffles me, because it's like, here he is, he's just blatantly saying that he doesn't want us people for borders to be free. He doesn't want people to have the freedom to travel and live wherever they want and be with whoever they want. He's saying that, and yet his wife is German. What? His surname is French. Like, same with Donald Trump. It's like, oh, you can be. It's totally cool in his mind. It's fine to be racist, but only against black people. God forbid you should be racist against Eastern Europeans who he's married to. He doesn't want any immigrants coming in, Mexicans, but they can come in as long as they're Eastern European and they're hot. What the fuck is going on? What's going on? Like, explain it to me, please. Somebody explain to me what the fuck is going on. Like, Yeah, but anyway, from a psychological point of view, that show, I think it's called The Talk. Like, I mean, I'm never gonna know what it's like to have a different colour skin, obviously. But that show, it articulated so well, and some insight of what it's like to, walk down the street in your own country, get on a bus, buy something, and not feel accepted, not feel comfortable, which is just fucking nuts. That's nuts. Like, I mean, it's like the Windrush thing, it's like the Windrush scandal. I watched a thing of that. Jesus Christ, that was just fucking nuts. What they put people through. And like I say, I've only ever really experienced racism towards me. I mean, a few times in South Africa, and the way I experienced it was, I moved to South Africa in I forget what year, maybe 2008 or something like that. I was in my 20s, and I lived there for about 3 or 4 years, and I would, like, if I got in a taxi or in a bus or any kind of public transport and stuff, if they just looked at me, they presumed I was Afrikaans until I opened my mouth, and then they heard my accent and they realised I was British. And so initially, when I was like, the first time it happened, the first like very severe memory in my mind was I'd got on this taxi, and the taxi driver was being really, really nasty. Like, he just hated me, and there was no real explanation for it. He just didn't like me, and he was really pissed off with me. And then I got a little bit closer to him at the back of the cab, and I started, talking to him properly, because and he could hear me properly. And then he just turned around, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're British? You're from England?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my God, cool, man." And he's fucking gave me I swear to God, by the end of the taxi driver, he'd invited me for dinner around his parents, like around his friends, like around his all his family around and that. I got invited to a fucking barbecue. I got invited to parties. He gave me his phone number. Like, he was like just chatting to me, really into me, digging me. And I said to him, right, as I was just at the end of the taxi ride, I said, why didn't you like, I don't understand. And he was like, "Oh, I thought you were Afrikaans." And I was like, okay. So I said to him, like, I'm new to South Africa. I was quite new to South Africa at the time. I was like, I'm new to South Africa. So what, what do you mean? Like, what would you expect me to be like? And he was like, well, we know that in England, you see, like, the way that you see black people or people from Africa and black people is equal. Like, you see them completely equal. You don't see them as anything less than what you are. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. And he was like, well, that's not how that's not what Afrikaans. That's not how Afrikaan people are, And that was shock. That was the first I started to experience like, I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, he was right. Like, not young Afrikaans people, because a lot of my young Afrikaan friends, or really unlike. Well, it was one or the other. Like, I would say, majoritively, the Afrikaans that I knew over a certain age were fucking racist. I don't mean racist in the sense where it was like obvious. They wouldn't like just go up to someone and say something. It was subtle, but it was there. Even my mum fucking. Like, my mum came over and she picked up on it, like, straight away. Even, like, she picked up on it just meeting people in the UK who are Afrikaans. But it got worse as, like, I mean, sorry, when any of my Afrikaner friends who were under the age of 23, they'd gone to mixed schools, completely different. Not only were they like, you had black South African, white South African, and they were mates. And they'd grown up and gone to school together. Not only were they mates, but, like, the white Afrikaners actually would fight. They were actually, like, politically involved, and they were really angry, actually. And they used to stand up to their elders and also like, it was really cool, actually. It was like, fucking hell. Because when I lived there, I used to go through quite a lot of. It was quite traumatic because I found it really, really difficult to accept what people were saying and doing to each other. It really upset me. And obviously, if you're from the background that we're from, if you're from the UK, and you've never experienced racism that was so archaic that it was from the 1950s, that it was really hard for me to handle it. I mean, there was a lot of times where I had to hold back the tears. There was a lot of times when I just wanted to, I'd really get angry, like really angry, like anger to the point where I was boiling with rage, And so I was so relieved when I met I realised that my younger friends, the younger generation there was completely different, and it gave me a lot of hope, for the future of South Africa. Thank fuck. And all it took was mixed schools. All it took, right, for a fucking human being to respect and value another human being regardless of their skin colour. All it took was for them to be hanging out with each other as children. It was as simple as that. That's it. It's not complicated, And it's like, because kids don't fucking see it. Like, I didn't when I was a kid. I didn't realise that one of my best friends my best friend who was Rastafarian, her parents, were Rastafarian, and they were from Jamaica. Like, I had no idea that she was different to me because she had a different skin colour. Like, yes, obviously she had a different skin colour, but, like, it didn't, like, I can't really explain it. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand. Like, it wasn't until I was much, much older that I kind of, like, started to understand race and colour and stuff. You know what I mean? It was almost like I had to be taught how to see colour. You know what I mean? That way, because it's like when you see, like, two cats hanging out together, and one's ginger and white cat, and one's a black and white cat. One's like a tabby cat. Like, those cats aren't like fighting with each other in the street and fucking, not talking to the other one, being all fucking weird because of the fucking colour of the fucking fur. Do you know what I mean? They're fighting over other shit, yeah, because cats fight over territory, but they're not fighting because of the fucking colour of the fur. It's just irrelevant to them. And that's how it was for me as a kid. It was just completely irrelevant to me. And I actually think that it's not about skin colour. I think what it's about is, it's all about territory, isn't it? Like, deep-rooted, that's what it is. It's like, you originally come from this area, whichever area it is, and we don't want you coming over here and living in this area because this is our little land, Like, we don't want to share it. Even if you've been in a war and you've lost your whole family and you're starving and you're gonna die, even if you go over there and you're gonna die, you can't be in our little land. It's like, I think that must be what it kind of deep down what it is, because, like I say, I don't know. I never understood that my friend was the way, like, in my mind it was like she was me mate and she's from Leeds like me. End of. That was the end of the conversation, you know, like, and I didn't really think about the fact that her family were originally had come over from Jamaica until many, many, many years later. You know, and then I was like, oh, you know, when I read about racism in history books and things, and then I thought that racism didn't exist in the UK, believe it or not. I'm really not digging on my hair right now, to be totally honest, but I think it's because I didn't dry it properly. Anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to go on a huge racist rant then. I always feel like, not like ridiculous, but a little bit like, I know with Black Lives Matter, I guess it's important at the moment to talk about it a lot, but I always feel as a white person that, like, I always feel a little bit ridiculous, you know, that because I've been ranting on about it for a while now. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to, there is one thing I wanted to say. I've been wanting to say this for a while, right? Oh god, I'm still gonna be ranting about racism stuff. I can't help it. I find it like, you know, I'm still learning a lot about it, and I feel like it's still important to talk about it, but I do feel like a bit of a dickhead being a white person going on about racism. It's like, I've never really experienced it, you know. But, like, this is, from my point of view, it's not even just the UK, and it's not even just America. I think probably it probably is predominantly Western media, I would think, because I know Indian TV and South African TV, there was a lot of it wasn't all white. But one thing I've always noticed, I'm gonna say, excuse me for being naughty and having a cigarette. The one thing I have noticed is one thing I have noticed, I wouldn't say I noticed it as a child, but I definitely noticed it when I got older, is I get really, really pissed off with TV, right? And film, because every major lead character is white, and every fucking, even just TV generally, I swear to God, right, you sit in front of the TV and watch TV, right, watch it for, like, say, the whole day, right, or a week, yeah. Like, actually, adverts, the only thing that's getting better as I've gotten older is adverts are getting a little bit better now with not being all white. But TV shows and TV shows and films, it's just always white people. It's just always white. Like, it's just not realistic, you know? Like, and it really fucking annoys me. Because imagine what it's like if you're Black British, you know, and you're watching TV, and your whole life you're not represented on TV. You're just seeing constantly. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, okay, you've got famous black actors in Hollywood, all right. You've got Will Smith and what's his name, Morgan Freeman and things like that, but it's not enough. not even by a long way. And, like, pretty much every major lead character in every film is white, and not always blonde and skinny, but definitely white. It's imagine what it's like to be from Chinese descent. I mean, fucking hell, like, you know, have you seen that? I don't know if you've seen that amazing TV series on Netflix called Hollywood. That's fucking brilliant. You know, and that really that goes into the history of it, and I really recommend, if you've not seen it, really watch Hollywood on Netflix. It's about racism in Hollywood and about homophobia and things. It's from the 50s, but it still resonates today. I get really, honestly, it really angers me. Like, I sit and think about what, and I think the reason I notice it, because when I've talked to friends about it in the past, when I've talked to people about it, they're kind of like, what? They haven't really picked up on it, and I'm like, how can you not see? And I think maybe the reason I see it so much and it angers me so much is because, when I growing up in Leeds, a lot of my best friends at school, a lot of my close friends were, Indian or Indian British or Black British or Muslim, Sikh. I had a Turkish friend, and you start to think about what it must be like if you're Chinese, or if you're Thai, or if you're black, or if you're mixed race. And TV is predominantly white faces. It really is white, and almost every lead character, almost every lead female role is always white. It's even now, and yeah, okay, you could argue and say, what about this show, what about that show? Yes, there are some shows where occasionally, rarely, where the lead character is black, but compared, like, if you sit and watch TV, I'll give you a classic example, right? Fucking Neighbours, yeah. I was watching, I think Channel 5. For some reason, I was on Channel 5, and Neighbours came on, and I've not seen Neighbours since I was at school, and it happened to be on in the background, and I started watching it, and about halfway through the show, I was thinking, what is it about this show that's really making me feel weird? And I realised what it was. It was that everybody was fucking white, and I was like, that's absolutely hilarious, because Australia, the idea that everybody in Australia is white is the idea that a soap opera is representing Australia as white people, as all white people, and blonde and six pack and everything, was just like, wow. You couldn't get any more. Australia, I've never even been there, but I know that Australia, is not. That's just hilarious, and it really angers me. It actually angers me that it's not realistic. There isn't the real representation of different races on TV and film. There just isn't, and I don't fucking care what you say. Like, yeah, the only thing that I've started to pick up on it a little bit is adverts. They've started to be a little bit better. I presume it's because they have, I hope, maybe it's the law or the quotas film, or maybe they just actually have a conscience and they actually think about things. Hopefully people in TV and film are all different races and they're the ones getting to write the scripts or whatever. I don't know, but TV and film, especially where I am anyway, is definitely not real representation of different races that we have in the UK. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I was going to talk about something else that was quite funny and that happened to me to do with COVID, but I'm so tired now. I don't think I've got the strength. So I shall leave it there. But anyway, if you have managed to listen to the end of this rant, well done you. And yeah, with this podcast, like I do try and I'm gonna say it every time on the podcast. This is a podcast where it's open source, so anybody can be on this podcast, not just me. And that means you can just send me a voice. You can just do a voice note on your phone. It's as simple as that. You can literally record anything you have to say on a voice note and send it to me. Send it to me on Facebook. That's the best way to get me. Or either on the Facebook page or to me personally. Or if you want to record a video on your phone or whatever on your computer, send it to me. or if you want to actually join me live, like if you want to actually do a recording with me on the podcast, we can do that as well. But yeah, even if you just want to do a 10-minute voice note, honestly, it's as simple as that. So if you have anything you want to say, send it to me. You don't have to ask me, like, you don't have to ask me about the topic or anything, literally any topic you want to talk about. Just drop it into me, and I'll put it on Lesbians Taking Over the World, because it's your podcast as much as it is mine. All right, well, I'm gonna go. And next time I'll tell you the funny thing, but hope you have a good week and take care.